Good day, everyone. All right, this is assignment number 3 for the Conscious Relationship class. Before I go on to the assignment, I have a handful of logistical things to talk with you about. The first is someone asked me, is it okay if you have posted a response and then I've responded to that response to continue the conversation and post a response to my response in the post? And the answer is absolutely yes. I love that, actually. I love having an actual conversation with somebody, in the class about whatever issue there is. And there's quite a number of those already, as you've no doubt seen. So yes, there is one logistical complication about that. And I sent an email about this early this morning that I hope you will be willing to look at. There's a difficulty for me because if you've made a post and I've responded, and then you respond to that inside that post, I don't get any kind of notification because it's your post, it's not my post. And so what that means is I'm spending a lot of time combing through the responses, looking for things like that, looking for things people have said that I have not attended to, and I'm afraid I'm missing some. If I have missed some and you would like to have a response, just please let me know and I'll find it. But as far as I'm aware, I've responded to everything, but I wouldn't be surprised to find if I haven't, just because it's hard to track it all without the notifications. So our friend Renee has figured out a way that is going to help me with this that does require a little bit of something on your end, and that's what that email was about. And so if you just post, an original post, you don't have to do anything but what you're doing now. But if you're responding to something that I've said to your post, if you would, there's a way you can tag me. Use @ in my email address. The email explains it. At the top of your post, you tag me, and then if you tag me, I get a notification. And then if I get that notification, then for sure I'll respond to it. And I can respond to it from the actual notification, and it shows up right there in the stream in the class. So if you'd be willing to do that, that would be great. If you don't understand what I'm talking about and you can't figure it out, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. I'm still going to be looking through to make sure I catch everything, but that will just help me out a lot. And just one other note on this, just so you know, when I'm going through and I'm finding a post something that I haven't responded to like that, I have a way on my end to move that post to the top of the stream, and I'm doing that a lot of times just so that, because if it's interesting to people, that way it'll be easier to find. Okay, great. So that's one thing. And the other thing is similar in that somebody asked me a question, is it okay to be doing what people are doing where people are responding to each other's posts? And the answer is absolutely yes. I actually really like that's happening, and I like what people are saying. It feels really supportive. It feels kind and good and compassionate, and I really appreciate the way that everyone is doing that. I had some concerns about opening up that door in the last class, as those of you who were there will remember, and I finally decided to do it just as an experiment, and I found that it went really well. The concern I had was that people would not understand or take advantage of that opening to form sort of inappropriate connections with people. And I really, really don't want that to happen. But that's not been going on at all so far in the class. And so I just really respect, actually, that people are able to, are understanding that and are able to respond in this very clean way and in a way that really works for the class. So the basic guideline there is please don't talk about the other person or the other person's experience. Please only talk about yourself and your experience. If you remember that, you're good. And so the kind of things people have been saying are stuff like, wow, thanks for the post, that's awesome. I have that experience too. Here's something that's going on with me about that. Here's something I see about that. That's fantastic. I love that. As opposed to, yeah, and have you considered doing this, or what about that, or giving advice and that kind of thing. Please don't do that. And that hasn't been happening, and that's great. All right, so that's all I have to say logistically. So let's go on to the assignment. So this assignment this time, assignment number 3, is going to be about wants and needs. All right. So to begin, you're going to need a paper and pen for this. If you don't have that, go ahead and pause the video and go get what you'll need, and then so you'll be ready. Okay, so this is about wants and needs. The first part of the assignment goes like this. If you'll please make a list, make two lists, so think of a particular relationship, and it really doesn't matter what relationship it is. Some significant relationship. So it could be your relationship with your partner if you have one. It could be with your kids, your mom or dad, even like a boss or an employee, something like that. Just some relationship that feels significant. And I want you to make two lists, a list of wants that you have in that relationship and a list of needs that you have in that relationship. Okay? So wants could be anything from general things like, companionship, sex, whatever like that. And it could be specific. I want someone to play tennis with. I want someone to ride on my motorcycle with me, or whatever it might be. I want someone who communicates well, who is in touch with his or her or their emotional state, whatever you can think of in that category. And give yourself some time to really get it all out there, okay? And then make a list of needs. And so these will be things that you feel they go beyond a want. They go beyond like you need to have this in this relationship. So for example, we've been talking in the class a lot about unconditional love and unconditional acceptance. Those to me would fall in that category. Okay? All right. So pause the video if you will and take some time. Take all the time you need. Take plenty of time to work that out, make those two lists, and then when you're done, come back, hit the play button, and we'll take the next step. Okay, very good. Welcome back. All right, so now what I'd like for you to do is go to the wants column, and I want you to look for on each of your wants to see what need is underneath that. Okay? And I want to clarify and qualify that because I want everyone to be clear. This is a place of big confusion that happens a lot. There's nothing in this that says there's anything wrong with wanting things or wanting things in a relationship. God forbid there's anything wrong with wanting to have a tennis partner, or someone who enjoys cooking with you or whatever it might be. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I want us to get down, for this purpose of this exercise, to the need level. And, and our wants are manifestations of our needs. Okay? And so to look to see what is it that you want. So like, let's say, you want someone to play tennis with. Well, what's the need that's underneath that? Well, perhaps it's a need for companionship. Perhaps it's a need to have shared experiences. Stuff like that. Okay? So that's it for this part. So hit pause and see what you can come up with that. And then we'll come back and take the next step. Okay, very good. Okay, so now what you should have is a list of needs. And you've probably noticed that some of the needs that came out of when you were translating the wants into needs are the needs that were already on your list. So you've got a list of needs for a relationship. So now what I want you to do is I want you to go through your list of needs and see what of these needs are ego's needs and what are your heart's needs, or you might say, what are authentic needs? Now, I'm guessing that most of what you got are authentic needs, actually, but you may not be. So look carefully and kind of look behind the words too to see. See if there's any conditioning in these needs. So, for example, a really gross and obvious version of that was, I need to be more powerful than my partner. I need to be the one who's calling the shots. I need to be the one who's making the decisions. That to me clearly would be an ego need. And that could manifest in some very subtle ways. So, look behind appearances in your list and see, is there anything like that going on? What would be another good ego need? Let's say, I need to be right in this relationship. I need to be the one who kind of has the final say in how things are in terms of what's going on. That would be another ego need. Okay? So again, I'm guessing most of it is not going to be that, but just look through and see if you can see a thing like that. So hit pause right now, if you will, and then come back when you're done. Okay, very good. All right, so for this next piece, I want you to look to see, of the needs that you have identified, what of those needs in this relationship are yours to meet, and what are your partners to meet? Okay? And I'm going to talk a little bit about this because this is kind of, to me, is very important in terms of relationship. From what I observe in myself and others, a big place where people get in trouble is that they enter a relationship expecting that relationship to meet their needs, their individual personal needs. And from my point of view, that's terrible. That's a terrible way to go into a relationship. And it pretty much guarantees the failure of the relationship. I have, for years, I've had this thing for myself where I think about, what is an actual adult, like a real adult? People, we're going around in life, people with grown-up bodies tend to look like adults, but many of them, we might even say most of them, are not. They are children in adult bodies. So what makes the difference between someone who is actually an adult in themselves and someone who is basically a kid wearing grown-up clothes? Well, to me, the difference is a true adult is able to take care of his or her or their own emotional needs. That's the difference. And that is a rare thing on this earth. If you look at what goes on in your life, perhaps, and certainly in the lives of people you see, I would imagine, people are substituting all kinds of things. They're putting their needs out onto all kinds of things to try to get their needs met. So it could certainly be another person in relationship or other people, and also on stuff. Like I'm going to acquire stuff to meet my need for belonging or something. I'm going, maybe I'll project that onto like my career. I feel a need to be validated, a need to be seen for who I am, perhaps. And I'm trying to use my career to get that need met, to kind of get other people's validation and approval so I can feel worthy, for example. That's very problematic. And people, that's what people are doing by and large, I feel like, and that's why a big piece of why we suffer. And so I feel like it's really good to recognize that our job, and this is kind of fundamental to me, our job on this earth is to take care of our needs. That is number one. If we accomplish anything else while we're doing that, fantastic. But our job is to take care of our own needs. And if we are able to accomplish that, then that makes us an adult. Okay? And here I'm talking primarily about emotional needs. But of course, physical needs fall into that category too. It often can happen in a relationship where the person expects the other person to take care of their physical needs, in a way that's inappropriate. There's lots of ways in which that's appropriate because there's we have an arrangement. You're responsible for this part of our material life. You're the one who's maybe bringing in the money, or you're the one who's growing the food or something. And then I have my part of what I'm responsible for. So I'm not talking about that. But there are also inappropriate ways where people are trying to get their physical needs met too. But that's kind of an aside. Mostly what I'm talking about is emotional needs here. So anyway, having said that, go to your list of needs and see, what of that is your partner's responsibility and what isn't. And there will be things very likely on that list that are your partner or whoever you're in relationships responsibility to meet, like for example, like a shared experience. Like you want to have a shared experience with someone, with another person. I would put that in the category of a need, the need of a relationship. Well, you can't do that by yourself because that's a shared thing. Maybe you're looking for, there's a need that the relationship has for mutual cooperation and respect. That's not something that's completely up to you. That's something that you're cooperating in and creating together. Okay? So, there will likely be things like that. Mostly, I think what you'll find is that the needs that are there in the relationship are actually yours to meet. But go through and see, what do you see about that? What do you see about what's yours to meet and what is the other person's need to meet? Okay? So you can hit pause now and see what you see about that. Okay, very good. So the last piece of this is to look to see, of those needs that you have identified that are yours to meet, consider, how can you meet those needs? How can you meet those needs? And that'll be a part of our conversation in the class, I'm sure. In general, we meet those needs by being present with ourselves, really kind of no matter what they are. So for example, let's say you have a need for companionship, maybe that's on your list. Now that can be an outward thing for sure, but it can also be an inward thing. I can remember when I got it at the monastery, it was very big for me actually that I can provide companionship for myself. Even though I only have one body, but it's like I'm two people inside, as we've been talking about. I can provide companionship for myself. Well, how do I do that? Well, it's being present to myself. It's avoiding being distracted. It's avoiding being in the stories of conditioned mind. Same thing, I have a need for unconditional love and acceptance. How do I meet that need? Well, I meet that need by being present with myself. Okay? So look over those needs and consider that. Consider how you can meet those needs, and consider, where are you meeting those needs in your life and where are you not meeting those needs. There was someone in the class recently who was talking about distraction. If there's a lot of distraction going on, then very likely that's a place where there's a need that's there that you're avoiding meeting. Not intentionally, of course, but unconsciously. So consider, how can you meet those needs, and where in your life are you meeting those needs and where are you not? And what does that show you about the work that's there to do? Okay? So take some time to work on that now also. Okay, very good. Okay, so put that away. And, of course, I want you to be looking at that as you go through your life over this next week. Pay attention, see what you see, and, write about that in the class. Share what you are seeing about that in the class. And so that we can have a conversation about it and get more into this whole thing about wants and needs and how we can meet our own needs and what kind of needs are appropriate in relationship, what to ask for and expect. Okay, very good. So now, if you would, there's a second part to this exercise that's going to be a guided imagery. And so if you would, put yourself in whatever position you would like to for a guided imagery. It's fine if you want to lie down, as long as you're not too sleepy, and would like for you not to fall asleep during the guided imagery. So if you're concerned at all about falling asleep, maybe you could stay seated up. But go ahead and make yourself comfortable now, and whenever you're ready, close your eyes. Okay, and if you would, again, let go of whatever you have been looking at in terms of the exercise we've done so far, and turn your attention to your breath and your body and your breathing. Just feeling your body, being with your body as it breathes. Feeling your breath as it enters your body and fills your body and leaves your body. Check in for a moment with your emotional state. What are you feeling right now? Check in for a moment with the state of your mind. Is your mind here? Is it present? Or is it agitated in some way? Is it wandering? If it's distracted or wandering, see if you can just bring it back right here, right now. Bring your attention back here to your body, to your breath, to the moment, to the sound of my voice. And give yourself fully the opportunity to just be here right now, breathing in and breathing out. Okay, and now if you would, in some way that you know how, go to the place in you that I was just talking about. The big place that we've been talking about in the class of conscious, compassionate awareness. The place where you are a true adult. The place from which you can take care of your own needs. Don't let conditioned mind tell you that you don't know that place or that you don't know how to get there. Just see what it's like to explore that possibility. Explore the possibility that there's a place that is in you. A big grown-up place. A place of love and acceptance, clarity and compassion. Just allow yourself to explore. What is that place in you? Where is that place in you? And what does it feel like to be in that place? And now, from within this place, notice that in this place you do not have needs. In this big transcendent place, this place of unconditional love and awareness, there are no needs. Now, from this place, you are aware of needs. You're aware of the needs of the body. You're aware of the needs of the emotional needs of the human who you are accompanying in this life. But notice that you have no needs of your own. Notice that the reason for that is that there is no separate self here in this place, in this big, loving, compassion, open, clear place. There is no self. There is only being. Or you might say, there is only awareness. There is only consciousness. Just allow yourself for a moment or two just to be in the awareness of that and be in the experience of that, if you can get there. The experience of just being without needing anything. Very good. And now from this place, turn your awareness to the needs of the human being that you are here in this life with. that you are moving through this life with and taking care of. Do you see the needs of that person? Do you see how the human is unable to take care of the needs that they have on their own? When we say that, and I was saying earlier that we need to be able to take care of our own needs, that's what an adult is. What I actually meant was we need to be in this big, loving place from which there are needs. There are no needs. And from this place to take care of the needs of the human. The human is not equipped to take care of his or her or their own needs. Those needs, those emotional needs, are met when we are here embodying this loving, open, accepting place of love and compassion. See for a moment how that's so. And notice how it is that this is a place where you can go. You can choose to be here in this big place from which you can meet the needs of the human who you are in this life with. This is the place from which we end suffering. Okay, and now if you would, whenever you feel ready, and let that go. Turn your attention back to your breath and your body. Take a couple nice, long, deep, full breaths. And whenever you feel ready, open your eyes. And now I would invite you to stay with that experience for as long as you want or need. And then just whenever you feel ready, begin to move about and make some notes about that. Make some notes for yourself about what you experienced there and what you saw in that imagery. And then I'd love, of course, to hear what you saw in the class. And so whenever you feel ready, let us know. Share what you see with all of us. Thank you all so much for your willingness to do this. Thank you for being here and doing this work. I really appreciate all of the ways that you're showing up for the class. See you soon in the class.